expensive databases like Nexus. Sometimes you call on me. So anyway, that picture there is really great because it captures everything you need to know about Owl Farm, because that was the kitchen, the office, the living room, and everything you needed to know, as the archives too, because everything was lying around. So I wouldn't want to be as archivist right now. I never had a good time with that. But before you did, somebody mentioned ghosts in my bed. I'd tell you the closest thing to ghosts in my bed for Hunter, I think, before you reached this room, you had to pass his porch, and there was nothing in the porch except for a huge stand-up cut-out poster of Bobby Kennedy walking alone, wearing his dead brother's flight jacket with a presidential seal. And that kind of captured to me Hunter wandering around trying to find some of the ideals and some of the beliefs that we all cherish, and trying to capture them again in a world that continue to change. But anyway, the consummate host, and as Ron points out, very genteel, very cordial. Not the person that a lot of people know through other means. And but in fact, as you come in, if you didn't like to partake, there was always about a 3-foot glass vase of what would I say? It's brandied fruit. So if you wanted to try that, but usually he was always standing up, greeting his visitors, hands in his pockets, blue jean jacket on, with the consummate greeting. Want to get high? That was all he said. And if you didn't, that was fine too. But the one thing that try to capsule somebody's life in a minute, but the only thing that comes to mind that really stays with me, it's not even important, it's just a quip, but driving around Louisville, visiting some of his haunts, like the jail where he hit the bricks and all these different places, but it was late at night, and by the way, the fact that he made it 67 years is unbelievable, because I can attest to the fact that he ingested everything anybody ever threw up on stage without even the laziest inspection. I couldn't believe it. How does he? Oh, sure, take that. No problem. And so we're driving around late at night, and we're going down on 3rd Street. In fact, I think this place is still there. It's called Tiffany's. It's this dive bar, and it's late, and everybody's really tired. And Hunter's like, oh man, full of energy. We gotta go. Everybody's like, oh, come on, Hunter, please. Let's go back to the hotel room, whatever. And so finally, we prevail. And 30 minutes goes by, it just gets kind of quiet, and somebody asks Hunter something, and you hear, I'm still bitter about Tiffany's. But that was quintessential Hunter. He was always honest, to the point of a kind of candor that you don't achieve with many people, because he always made it entertaining. And that was the thing that's lost about Hunter and all his activities, is that he was one of America's greatest humorists ever. He was one of the funniest human beings alive to hang out with. And he always made it entertaining and fun for anybody that hung with him. So, but I wanted to just honor him briefly with what I think, was the purest piece of writing. And I won't take another minute here, because I know we're probably running over, and that's the first paragraph of Hell's Angels. Maybe a paragraph and a half. California, Labor Day weekend. Early with ocean fog still in the streets, outlaw motorcycles wearing chains, shades, and greasy Levi's roll out of dump garages, all-night diners, and cast-off one-night pads in Frisco, Hollywood, Purdue, and East Oakland, heading for the Monterey Peninsula, north of Big Sur. The menace is loose again. The Hells Angels, the 100-carat headline, running fast and loud on the early morning freeway, low in the saddle, nobody smiles, jamming crazy through the traffic at 90 miles an hour down the center stripe, missing by inches, like Genghis Khan on an iron horse. A monster steed with a fiery anus, flat out through the eye of a beer can and up your daughter's leg, with no quarter asked and none given. Show the squares some class. Give them a whiff of those kicks they'll never know. Ah, these righteous dudes, they love to screw it on.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Scott Swing. And I'll tell you what, a good idea. I teach writing, and Hunter came up with the idea he wanted to grow as a writer, so he took the books of Hemingway and Faulkner and Fitzgerald, and he typed them word by word, paying attention to the words chosen by the writer, the way the words were placed in the sentence, and the transitions between paragraphs. And if you want to learn how to be a better writer, do the same thing with Hunter S.Thompson's work. He was a master, as has already been mentioned. Okay, we're going to have one more person come up and read, and then Sarah and I are going to do our set. And then for those who want to stay after our set, 3 or 4 more people can come up and read if they want to, because people have arrived late. He came down, he's a journalist in Indianapolis. He came from, well, he can tell you where he came from. Through Jim Irsay's organization, Myra Borshoff, put Tom Healy in contact with me. I'm doing some work. Jim Irsay owns the Indianapolis Colts NFL football team. He paid $2.4 million for Jack Kerouac's On the Road scroll, which he has presented to IU's Lilly Library, and I'm helping some folks in London, England, produce the second London International Poetry and Song Festival. It's probably going to be April of 2006, 1 year from now, when Kerouac's scroll will open at the Tate Modern Gallery. We're going to do both events in conjunction with each other. But please welcome now to share his tribute to Hunter from Indianapolis, Tom Healy.
Thank you. I'm proud to be here with other members from the Hoosier State to mourn and grieve for the loss of your native son. But more than to mourn, we're also here to celebrate a unique character in the history of American letters, and it's a real honor to be here. Ron's been very supportive. I'll just tell you this. I was writing a story for an alternative online journal, and I wanted to get a comment from Jim Irsay about his pal. Well, I don't know if you know, but Jim Irsay is trying to get the state legislature in Indiana to cough up a certain amount of money so that they can build a new stadium and he can have skyboxes and make even more money. Well, and he's recovering from an addiction to painkillers, and it probably wouldn't be good for him to be associated in print with a known drug fiend. So imagine that his publicist never got back to me, and I never got the comment for the story, so I wrote something anyway. And after the 20th of February, I just really got to working on something that I knew was probably unpublishable, and I just kept working on it. And I called Myra Borshoff, the publicist, and said, I'd really like to forward Jim Irsay what I did publish, and can you share that with me? He said, oh, by the way, did you know Ron Whitehead is trying to put together something in Louisville to commemorate Thompson? I said, no. He says, well, so she forwarded me his email and his stuff. I went to his website, I read his tribute, I found my tribe. He knew Hunter, he knows Hunter, he gets the gist of Hunter, and so I forwarded him my piece, Legacy of Lono, and he, based on that, this happened Sunday, he emailed me and said, come down and read this, and I'm really grateful to do it. It's a little longer than what's been read, I hope it's worth your attention, but it opens with a short excerpt from a passage called Confession from Awakening Osiris, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It starts out like this. In every breath we speak what we know, be what we are. I am a man of good intention. I have not hurried a difficult day by praying for night. I extinguished no candle before its hour. I have not tested the limits imposed by gods, or tried to turn back the stampede of events that brought me to my knees and destiny. The Legacy of Lono. At the conclusion of The Curse of Lono, author Hunter S. Thompson's scathing reports on the body Nazis who participated in the Honolulu Marathon, he makes a claim that he is Lono, the ancient Hawaiian god of agriculture and peace. At a public talk around that time, the book came out, I took advantage of the Q&A to ask him about the ending. So, Mr. Thompson, at the end of the book,